So welcome everybody to our series, Meet the Experts. Today it's all about redirecting links, how to deal with links during a migration and after that. So some introductions, the topic itself, a live demo, questions and answers, and a small survey. That's it. So we have 30 minutes, and I think that we will manage within those 30 minutes. Just to inform you, this webinar is being recorded and you will receive a recording and the slides after the webinar in your mail. If you do have questions, please put them in chat so that we can follow them up. Short introduction. My name is Ruud de Wolf. I am the global sales at Xillio. Like I always said, doing sales from the Aboriginals in New Zealand up until the Alaska communities and everything in between. And today with me from the expert side, Tonino. Hey, Tonino, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Tonino. I'm a software engineer in Xillio, and I help develop Xillio Lead Redirector.
Cool. So we really have the experts on board. Fantastic. Just a short introduction for the people who do not know us. If you've been a regular visitor to our webinars, you might know this one as well. Still working out of this lovely old banking and radio station office in Hilversum, between Utrecht and Amsterdam. But since COVID, I think most of the people are working from home or remote locations. So it's a large building for a few people. In business for 20 years. Last May we had our 20th anniversary, and yeah, looking forward to an exciting 2025 where we will launch our cloud solution platform. That's all. I won't go into all the details. It's all about this one, the link redirector, and I put in the slide or the subtitle. It's all about zero business disruption. The reason why we developed the link redirector is because of zero business disruption. So if, just a small reminder, this is the slide of our Xillio platform, which I always use to explain how we migrate. It's all about extracting the data from the source, do the analysis and the transformation, and then load it into the target. Nowadays, most of the time, SharePoint Online. But what happens if during the discovery phase and the analysis phase, it turns out that your data set, you want to migrate per department. Your data set is too large, or there is a migration strategy in place where you want to migrate per department, maybe even over a longer period of time. That means that certain departments are already using, let's say, SharePoint, and other systems are still using the old platform like OpenText or whatever. Especially in the old ECM systems, we definitely see that there is a usage by the users where they share links to documents, not through an attachment, but using a link to a OpenText location where the document is stored. And when you migrate that department, for instance, that user, for instance, the document is no longer at that old location, but at the new location. So how are you dealing with that? You don't want that business disruption when you are migrating. And that is why we have the Xillio link redirector, specifically for that reason. And there's a very big important statement to make. When we migrate as Xillio, we will never touch or look into or alter your data, which means that there are solutions out there that edit the link from the old location to the new location. We do not do that. We have the policy, and many of our customers choose us because of that. We will not touch your data. We will not edit your data. But and that is why we came up with this solution. So yeah, this is the slide. It's the architecture slide, and it points to our website, which has all the documentation in place. And it's actually the moment where I like to transfer the microphone to Tonino to explain to you in a bit more detail how this is all set up and how it works. So over to you. Tonino?
Yes, thank you, Ruud. So yeah, as Ruud already said, you see the architecture slide in front of you of the Xillio link redirector. You might be asking, how would such thing be placed in the network or in the infrastructure? And the purpose is, of course, that any links pointing to documents in a source system or an old system gets redirected to the new location. So step one would be to place the link redirector at the sort of like the DNS records for the tech-savvy people under us, but at the exact location where the old source system used to be. And then we just move the source system like one step to the side, right? So for example, in an open text case, you could have your opentext.organization.com where all the links will be stored. So that location now belongs to the link redirector, and then the source system will be placed next to it under, for example, old.opentext. And then if all links formerly pointing to this old location now point to the link redirector, the link redirector can then figure out if that document has been migrated or not, and if necessary, redirect it to the old system or the new one. That is sort of like how the architecture is in place. And with this specific slide, you can see like, as the title says, this is a flow for a already migrated document. So you can see that you have both the source and the target system at the, sort of like in the internal network next to the link redirector. And if a request for a document comes into the link redirector for a document that has already been migrated, it will look at that document, come to the conclusion that the document has been migrated and correctly redirect the user to the new location of said document. And
I think you have
some
demo slides, right, Tonino? Are you sharing your screen later on?
I am sharing my screen. I am prepared for a live demo, so I definitely hope that question will be coming.
Okay, because I'm still looking at my screen, so.
Yes, me too. I'm also still looking at your screen. I
Okay.
see the slide for the flow for a migrated document.
Okay, so you're taking over when you're doing the live demo, right?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, just checking. Are you now going to the live demo?
Yeah, yes. Do you want that?
Yes,
yeah,
sure.
Of course. Yeah. I just thought I was just answering the question. Yes, it would be nice to see live in action. I will put this to the side and then open my screen. I do not have any slides prepared, but I intend to just show the thing in action. I have some links here, which are just some demo links on the right. This is just a notepad of my browser on the left. My screen is visible to everyone, right? I see a browser on the left and a notepad on the right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So we take an open text example here, and this is what an open text link typically looks like. It's just an example link that we just took from an old open text instance. And let's say this is a link with a document ID of 123, and we have migrated this document with ID 123 to a SharePoint location. So we have this old link here that has been found in some old email or some old Word document or wherever it might be, even a Teams channel, which you're referring back to. And you're trying to open this file, which has already been migrated. And I set up a demo server. I have the link redirector running on my computer. And if we then paste it in here, I can see that successfully the link, even though I pasted the open text, I am now at my SharePoint Online link in my browser because it is properly redirected. We can see that it puts the document ID 123 right in there. And that is because the link redirector has a nifty way of figuring out and deconstructing the links, which I would like to get the documentation with it because we have a handy helper there. we have here the pattern tester. This is sort of like a bit under the hood for like the more techie side of the story. With this pattern, this is how the link redirector tries to figure out where the ID is in the URL, because that is what we need, right? I mean, we don't have to save every possible link that exists for said source system. We only need to figure out, like, hey, I just need the ID. And you can specify your own rules in the configuration of the link redirector to figure out where the ID is, so that it's basically compatible with any source system, because the configuration is just by a pattern, which is just a funky flavor of a regular expression. You can fish out the ID here, and even if I want, let's say I need a view type as well, I can do that too. So let's say the view type is, let's say here, and I can see now here that I fished out the view type as well. So this is how it sort of like works. But now you might be wondering, like, hey, Tonino, listen, the ID of my document might be 123 in open text, but if I migrate to SharePoint, it won't never be the same ID. Well, you're absolutely right. I did want to take it one step at a time, so we have this pattern stuff out of the way. So now there's the actual real life scenario, right? So we have a set of documents with old IDs, and then we have a set of new documents with new IDs. So this is also something that the link redirector is prepared for. And especially because when we are migrating, we obviously keep track of all those IDs in the process. So instead of this old link, I have a second example. Let's say I now have this old link with ID 456, but it corresponds to the ID DEF on the target system, let's say SharePoint or I don't know whatnot. The link redirector can also be configured to map certain IDs and then replace them. So this is how we tackle those IDs and mismatch. So when we do a migration, we migrate a document from, let's say, OpenText to SharePoint. And obviously, because we do that, we have both IDs in place and we know that they belong to each other. When we do a migration, we put those in a migration table, and the link redirector can then use that to map those IDs. So just as a silly demo, I can open a second tab here, paste that in here, and now I can see that sort of like the same thing happened as before. I pasted the open text link in the URL with the ID 456, but you can see now that the ID has been replaced with DEF right here. And this is like a more typical scenario when doing migrations. And then lastly, I hope this all clicked for everyone. If not, you can definitely shoot a question in the chat and we'll come back to it when I show the last link. I have a third link here, which is like an odd situation. Let's say we have this sort of like this recognizer in place, and then let's say it needs to figure out this ID and it tries to redirect, but the document has not been migrated yet. So only part of the documents have migrated. As Ruud explained before, let's say the finance department has migrated to SharePoint, but the marketing department hasn't. Well, we have a fallback mechanism for it, obviously, in the configuration. So this is the same rule, and I only have one ID in my migration table, the one for 456, but this one hasn't been migrated yet. So the link redirector is still in place, but instead of redirecting me to the target system, it still falls back to the source system because the document hasn't been migrated yet. So whilst you are doing a migration, our migration software can fill up the migration table while it's migrating, and therefore you can always have the most up-to-date location of your data. And I think that sort of like concludes the most important functionality of the link redirector. And if
Fantastic.
there is any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I hope that was clear for everyone.
So thank you. I have one question, is what kind of links can we redirect?
Well, anything really. I mean, a link is a link. It's just a hyperlink where you click on and you land anything. So basically, we can migrate or we can direct any link. The only thing that comes to mind is that the link redirector works on the HTTP protocol. Right, link redirector is under the hood. It works with the HTTP protocol, and therefore it is able to redirect to new locations. If you, for example, have a link which starts with on your C drive, for example, that can be a link. Sometimes it starts with file : / or something, or I don't know, a file share. Those links don't use the HTTP protocol, and sometimes they are found in emails. Those are links which are not able to be redirected since they're not on the protocol. But other than that, any link that is clickable, that starts with HTTP, anything really can be redirected.
Yeah. So basically, it is any ECM system which uses the HTTP protocol. And Bart has a question in the chat if box links also work. Well, the box link is an HTTP request to box with the entire path in place. Then the answer would be yes, that works as well.
Correct.
So file shares and local files on systems do not work, but everything in your old ECM system does work. Okay, great. Any other questions?
Correct.
Or Bart, is that enough answer to your question? Yes, thanks. Okay,
Awesome.
Great. Then I'll switch to, you can stop sharing. I'll take over from my side.
Awesome.
That's easy. Ask anything. It's where we are now. At least I was hoping. Any more questions from anybody? Is it clear? It's fairly straightforward, so I can imagine that, yeah, there are not many questions, but anything else? No? Then, although it's a very short Meet the Expert session in this case, there's not much technical stuff to talk about. Still would like to ask you to fill out this quick survey. And we would like to take the time to do that now. So if you would be so kind to fill out the survey, it is about this webinar, but also are there any other topics that you might want to see in the future? So if you could please fill out, and then, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, everybody. And yeah, that's it. That concludes it. If there are no more questions, then I wish everybody a very nice day, and looking forward to the next Meet the Expert series. Have a great day. Bye-bye.